I feel like everyone who likes video games has that one game that made them fall in love with the medium, and for me, it was The Last of Us. That may sound like a basic choice, but after an entire decade, its story has stuck with me in a way that others just haven't. I love the world and the settings, and most importantly, the characters. I was the same age as Ellie when the first game came out, and that has cemented her as one of my favorite characters not just in video games, but in media. Because I love the games so much, I find myself going back and watching cutscenes from part 1 and 2 just to feel something. And occasionally I'll find a comment that says something like this. Okay, but I'm so sure that Ellie knew. Like, seriously, is it only me who thought that the second she woke up on that truck, she put everything together and realized what happened? Lamau. These comments usually imply that Ellie's reaction to Joel's lie was unjustified, like, how dare she be mad at my favorite scary murder man? Look at how sad he is! She hurt his feelings! Now, The Last of Us Part 1's ending is meant to be ambiguous, and there's no wrong way to interpret it. However, I think Part 2 handles Ellie's reaction beautifully, even if it undercuts the ambiguity of the first game's ending. So, today I want to talk a little bit about Part 1's ending, how Part 2 continued that ending, and why I think comments like these are a little too simple for the complex story being told here. Because Joel is the main playable character in The Last of Us Part 1, most of the story is framed from his point of view. Because of this, I think people can easily miss some of the nuances of Ellie's character, so let's take a look at The Last of Us Part 1 from Ellie's perspective. At the beginning of the story, Ellie is a regular 14-year-old girl, which means she has a Tumblr account, listens to Arctic Monkeys, and writes fan fiction in her Wait. Hold on, that's not right. Which means she's attending military school in the Boston quarantine zone. After she and her crush Riley are infected by the angry mushroom virus, Ellie finds out the hard way that she is immune to the infection. We never find out what happened to Riley in the game, but we do know that this event was so traumatic that Ellie doesn't talk about it with anyone, not even Joel. Riley's tragic ending leaves Ellie with her first dose of survivor's guilt, something that she will struggle with for the entirety of the story. Once Joel and Ellie start their journey across the country, Ellie has to stand by and watch as others get infected and die, knowing that she will never succumb to that fate. Not because there's anything special about her, not because she's the chosen one, but because of a random mutation that could have happened to literally anyone. This guilt begins to grow until Ellie seems to blame herself for the deaths of all of these people.
Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die. And then it was Tess. And then Sam.
None of that is on you.
You don't understand.
In her mind, her role as the savior of humanity becomes more important than anything else. Her life doesn't matter without it.
I was supposed to die in that hospital. My life would have fucking mattered.
Creating a cure will offer some sort of redemption, and will alleviate her of the crushing guilt that she feels. And then...
You just come after her.
You see, as Joel and Ellie grow closer, Joel begins to care less about Ellie's role as the savior. To him, she's just a kid, one that deserves a life, one that's healing a wound inflicted on him 20 years ago. And because of that, Ellie dying to make a cure just isn't worth it to him. When Ellie confronts him at the end of the game, she's a little vulnerable about her survivor's guilt, which is something we haven't really seen from her yet. But Joel isn't having any of it. When asked if he's telling the truth, he lies straight to her face and says that the Fireflies have given up on making a cure. This is Ellie's reaction.
Okay.
Her words agree, but there's a little bit of doubt in her expression. There are so many ways you can interpret that, and fans of the game theorized it for years. Did Angry Murder Man and his daughter live happily ever after? Did she run away and leave him an empty shell again? I sure do hope they live it up to the imagination and don't create a sequel ruining one of the greatest endings in video game hits. Oh. I'm just kidding. For what it's worth, I actually really like The Last of Us Part 2. It has some serious flaws, but I still enjoyed playing it and experiencing the story for what it was. However, the transition from that ambiguous ending and Ellie's actions in Part 2 seemed to not match for a lot of people, and I can definitely see where they're coming from. The game does hint that Ellie knows about Joel's dishonesty. When she turns her back to him in the car, she's closing herself off because she knows that something is not right. She's a smart kid, and he knows that. In Ellie's mind, what are the implications of a lie like this? Accepting that Joel is lying means that the one person on Earth who she loves, who she trusts, has robbed her of her agency and ruined her only chance at redemption, that he doomed her for a life of sorrow and guilt and sadness. Now tell me, is that an easy thing to accept? No. Ellie knew Joel was lying, but I don't think she had accepted it, because accepting it would be way too hard. It's better to push it down, not think about it, and go on enduring and surviving. In a weird way, Ellie's arc throughout part 1 and 2 involves becoming more like Joel. She learns not to trust people, to push her feelings down and ignore a sad truth, just like Joel did 20 years ago. For Joel, that truth was that he couldn't protect his daughter, and for Ellie, that truth is that her father just doomed her and the entire world. You know, typical teenager things. Have you ever been hurt by the words or actions of a friend or family member, but you don't really want to deal with the repercussions of working it out? You love them and you don't want an argument to destroy your relationship, so you kind of just avoid the issue, but those feelings start morphing into resentment and you begin to feel angry about the smallest little things? Push it down, forget about it, until something unearths it. Ellie's denial is almost made easier by life in Jackson. No one seems to be struggling much there. She has friends and a crush, and her own little place where she can hang her Arctic Monkeys posters. She even starts to rekindle a relationship with Joel, even if it gets off to an awkward start. Like, seriously, I can't imagine going from every day is a coin toss whether we live or die to, you want to take guitar lessons, Ellie? Anyways, through flashbacks, we see Joel and Ellie grow closer than ever before. Time is healing her wounds. She starts to trust him again, to love him, and oh my god, this scene is so cute. It makes me so happy. I want to burrow my face into a pillow and cry.
I do okay.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You're welcome, kiddo.
However, life in paradise gets interrupted when our murder duo are reminded about the threat outside of the walls. Some Jackson deserters are found after being jumped by some infected, and this encounter seems to bring back all of those doubts that Ellie had been waving away. She's reminded of her survivor's guilt, that people outside of Jackson are struggling, and she might have been able to stop it. But when she brings this up to Joel, he gets defensive, gaslights her, and practically tells her to not bring it up anymore.
There was no cure. There's nothing that could help these people or anybody else. I know you wish things were different. I wish things were different. But they ain't. And we need to get these kids back to their families. Is there something else you'd like to rehash?
And now the rose-colored glasses are off. The truth becomes too tempting, and Ellie goes back to the hospital where it all began. Joel follows her there, and after she gives him an ultimatum, he finally gives in and tells her the truth. And she is devastated.
Don't you fucking touch me! I'll go back. But we're done.
This seems to be where people are confused. Why was Ellie reacting this way if she always had her doubts? Well, that's because knowing something and accepting it don't always happen at the same time. In her mind, Joel has validated every terrible thought she's had about the situation, that she has no chance at redemption, that she's doomed to live a life of guilt and shame, that he doomed others to live in this hell of a world all because he was feeling selfish, and she's angry about it. Listen, a lot of people love Joel. Hell, I love Joel. He's a fantastic character and one that will do anything for the people he loves. But he's also selfish, and he made a selfish choice. Ellie is perfectly valid in being angry at him, and he knows that. He continues to respect her boundaries and keep his distance from her, if not for a few isolated incidents.
Ellie, don't.
Get the hell out of here.
Get your hands off me.
Hey!
Enough.
You all right, kiddo?
What is wrong with you?
He had no right.
And you do? I don't need your fucking help, Joel.
Ellie is angry at him, at herself, at the world, and her outbursts at Joel are manifestations of that. It isn't until she's had several years to heal that she entertains the idea of forgiving him, and maybe even forgiving herself.
If somehow the Lord gave me a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again.
I don't think I can ever forgive you for that. But I would like to try.
I'd like that.
And well, that's for another video. At the end of the day, Ellie's story is a tragic one. She's broken, betrayed, angry, and frankly, she's allowed to be. I don't know if they plan on making a third game, but if they do, I hope her arc is more akin to Part 1 Joel, an arc about a broken individual that has lost everything, who finds redemption through human connection. I love Ellie, and I want her to be happy and maybe see a therapist. I know there's tons of videos on YouTube about this game, and nothing I've said in this video is, original, but I really love this story, and I love any opportunity I have to talk about it. So what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and bye.
I just want to say I'm part of the LGBTQ community, and this is my best friend, Valentina. She's an ally. Talk, Valentina.
Ally.